the way.
You know, I enjoyed much of the emotional resonance of this episode. We finally, like I said before, get some motivation to Boba Fett, which I feel like was lacking. The death of the Tusken Raiders probably left him wanting for revenge or possibly creating stability in the world. I'm not sure which yet. We're still learning, you know, what his motivations are, but this is the point where he says, I'm going to, whatever it is, you know, whatever that case may be. And if it wasn't for the street gang, I'd probably say this is my favorite episode.
Yeah, I would have to. Yeah.
I think episode 2 has been my favorite so far.
This one, I think we're finally starting to be like, all right, now it's time to go on this episode. Because with everything Star Wars, you've just got to realize that there's going to be, building. It's got to build just like it did with the Mandalorian. It had to build up, and then it's a go time. And I think, and even Hawkeye did that. When you've got 7 hours to tell a story versus 2, it's going to have to ramp up, and you get more detailed stuff in it. Because that's what happened with Hawkeye. You know, you're watching it, and the last 2 episodes are great. The whole thing as a whole was great, but then the last 2 episodes were the ones with the most action in them.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling it's going to happen with Boba Fett.
A lot of people were complaining about the gang, saying that they looked a lot like Power Rangers. I didn't get the Power Ranger feel. My issue with the gang was their clothes were too new. Yeah. This is a used universe. And they didn't feel like they fit on Mos Espa. They didn't feel like it felt like they just landed here. Mm-hmm. And maybe if they had said that, I would have been more accepting of the gang. Like one dude kind of looked like he was from Hogwarts. He had a long sleeve trench with a hood on and a tie and a white shirt, and he kind of looked like Robert Pattinson. So it was like, is this that dude from Goblet of Fire? What's his name? It's gonna whatever. Oh God, I feel defeated now.
I don't.
Anyway, yeah, you don't know. I'm on my own here.
Is it the guy with the mat? Well,
Cedric okay. Diggory.
Okay.
Anyways, moving on. I know that I got that out of my system. And then the speeders themselves look more like Vespas,
right,
than actual bikes. And when you see a Vespa, you know, you're not like, that's intimidating, not like a chopper. So that kind of deflated them a little bit. Again, it's a used universe. These Vespas looked brand new,
and I think
looked like dirty.
Yeah, she could have used more mirrors on hers, though.
And that's the final thing. That's the final thing I was going to mention, the mirrors. How many mirrors does one person need? Like one mirror does the job.
Right.
Does it really matter what's underneath you?
Do you really need 15 mirrors on your bike?
It just seems silly. And that's all right. It's just like there's so many things kind of stacking up there. All right. The color, it's not a used universe kind of machine. And then the mirrors, it's like, come on.
Yeah.
And that was my secret, because I didn't really verbalize it with Robert Rodriguez, because he can get silly with like Lava Girl and Shark Boy and some of those Spy Kids things. You know, there's one where there's an army of thumbs that attack the kids.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen it. And it can get silly. I mean, it's very inspired by Ray Harryhausen. And we've seen that in the Book of Boba Fett, and it's worked. This one, I kind of felt like, you're pushing it a little too much. Mm-hmm. But as far as like the emotional aspect of Boba Fett, I'm finally connecting with the character in this episode.
Yeah. I can agree. I think that the deal with the Power Rangers is that the colors were the same colors as the Power Rangers. The colors of the bikes are the same colors as the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
That's where people get that from. And I do have to agree that they were too nice and shiny, unless these guys were like, that's, they wanted to keep their stuff looking good because they're kids versus, the used universe. But yeah, it felt that whole sequence, because when you first see that girl in the trailers, you're expecting her to be something special. And you just find out she's a leader of a biker gang.
Yeah, she's not the daughter of Boba Fett.
Yeah. Well, she's not Omega, and she's not that chick with the thing and related to that.
Dr. Aphra.
No, either Dr. Aphra, and then you got, is it Aura Singh?
Yeah, Aura Singh.
I got it right.
You did. You got one name right.
Yay, you
Say
got her.
Trandoshans.
Yeah, Trandoshans. you know, it just it was a little bit of a letdown for her. I did enjoy the Danny Trejo, his cameo in it. Now he's a part of Star Wars, which is kind of funny. And it also, I think him and Rob Rogers worked together in the past, so they've done a few movies together. So
yeah, they do stuff all together all the time.
Yeah, so him being in there makes sense. You know, the Rancor was kind of cool. I kind of missed what you were saying about the blinders, and I didn't realize that Boba Fett was the first human that it had seen. So that kind of makes sense. And then you're kind of realizing why the Rancor keeper cried in Return of the Jedi when the Rancor died, because if you spend that much time with an animal training it, you're emotionally connected to that animal. So right. and I didn't and now hearing what what you got out of the scene, I thought when he said he'll be back that it kind of left a little bit of a, is this a trap type thing, but now it's just know that the Rancor wants to see Boba Fett. That's his new best friend.
Listen to the Smugglers Galaxy Podcast every Tuesday wherever you download your podcast. This is the way.